All right, everybody. Welcome to our exciting series that we've been continuing. We're going to be kicking off in a few minutes. We're waiting for some more people to attend. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're in a part of the country that's rainy, I hope you're safe or snowy or whatever. You're safe and well out there. Good to see everybody coming on board. We're going to introduce Eric in a few minutes, who's going to do an amazing job of walking through our JFrog Connect product today. But we'll give everybody a few more minutes. We'll let Eric, Eric, you want to start sharing your screen? I think that'd be a good point now.
Sure.
Awesome. And then, like I said, we're going to start in about, but we'll start in about a minute. Let everybody keep filing in. There we go. See more and more people showing up. Let's see. Give them, yeah, another 10 seconds, and we're going to kick this show on the road. I think when we hit the 60 mark. Come on, 60. All right. Well, welcome everybody to another fun workshop put on here by JFrog. We're all so happy to see everyone here attending. Today we're going to be discussing JFrog Connect, which is our IoT platform. It's a updater, remote diagnostics, you name it. It's an absolutely amazing fleet management system. I am myself, if we go to the next slide. I'm Bill Manning. I'm one of the senior solution architects here at JFrog. I today will be introducing one of the most amazing people I have the honor of working with on a regular basis, Eric Allison. Known this guy for a bunch of years. We have mutual friends in the past. He is one of the most dynamic, incredible individuals you will see. Eric, if you'd like to introduce yourself and kick this off, I will be behind the scenes. We also have Kayvon here, and I will be supporting you guys. So if you have any questions during this time period, please put them in the Q&A section. We'll be in the Q&A. But without further ado, Eric, take over. It show is yours, and everybody enjoy.
Thank you, Bill, for that awesome welcome. I'm Eric Allison, everyone. Great to meet you. I am a solution engineer here at JFrog. I'm going to be your guide today. We're going to be going through JFrog Connect, which is an amazing piece of software that can help you manage all of your IoT devices all over the world. Probably have a ton of devices in your house. You might have one in your hand right now. You can see from this image here that everything is now connected. So how can you manage it? Well, we're going to talk about what JFrog Connect is, how it can tie into Artifactory, keep everything secure, safe from any vulnerabilities for any of those devices that are out there in the wild. We're going to go over Connect as an overview in the platform. I'm going to show you how it works, how you can create workflows, how you can update things, how you can push Docker images, how you can update those devices, and then also make sure they're all running great, diagnosing them, fixing any issues, and I'll show you how you can achieve that. So there's a lot of things that are happening with IoT, just exponential growth. You're getting devices in your hands, in your cars, in your home, all over the place. And you can see these numbers are quite large. IoT spending has already hit 1.2 trillion in 2022. It's going to continue to grow more and more. Security is also a huge concern. As we increase the number of devices out there, you're also increasing the chances that someone is going to try to take advantage of them. We've heard about cases where IP cameras were taken advantage of and they were using it to mine Bitcoin or something like that. More and more exploits are always happening. JFrog is here to help you maintain those security footprints. More and more things are coming. You can see that just picking one off this list, that smart homes grew to 350 million in 2023, and they're going to continue to grow and grow. You can see some of the millions and millions of connected devices out there. So whether it's your friendly neighborhood Robocop or a Raspberry Pi a Jetson, maybe a thermostat like a Nest or a Fitbit. You might have one of these on your wrist right now, or an IP camera. They're everywhere. They're always watching you. And then also with your automobile, your cars are now connected to the internet. So it ranges from a $30 Raspberry Pi, a little Tinker computer, to one of these $150,000 cars. They're all connected. They're all doing something. They need to be updated and they need to be secure. Some of those challenges are eliminating product recalls. You might have just heard there was a huge recall on Tesla devices. So what did they do? Well, they didn't have all the cars come into the dealer to get fixed. Instead, they pushed out a software update using a system like Connect. This also helps you ensure that software reliability. You know that all your software updates are going to where they need to go. And also with Artifactory, you can make sure that they are what they need to be, what needs to be delivered. It's immutable, it's secure, it's safe. Allows you to stay in control. The Connect remote management allows you to do those software updates. You can do the troubleshooting as well. You can get right into your fleet. You can segment that out by the group, be production, it could be your test fleet, it could be in a region. You can monitor everything. You can see if something is hitting high CPU or maybe consuming a bunch of RAM after an update, or maybe something's out of control. Maybe you hit some sort of security breach. You could see your CPU spiking. You can watch that, you can take action and fix it. This is how JFrog Connect helps you manage that. So with the device management server that's running in the SaaS, we have a full UI to allow you to see exactly what's going on, create those workflows, those update flows, manage any issues that are happening. And that all ties into that device agent. So it's about a 4 meg agent that will run on all your devices. And it works with ARM, Intel devices. It's a very low footprint. It's always available and it's always running. How this ties into the DevOps supply chain here is it's in the monitor, operate, and deploy channel. So you're building everything, you're coding, you're testing, you're planning. Connect takes over for those edge and IoT devices. So whether it's one of those Raspberry Pis, or maybe it is a Linux-based VM that's operating in a metro environment, in those low latency environments, Connect can help you to deploy, to operate, so you can monitor and make sure everything's running correctly. And then you can also push those updates. Connect is an extension to Artifactory. So you can continue to make sure that you have that single source of truth with Artifactory. You can use distribution to push out to any of your devices. You can continue to use pipelines or any other tool that you're familiar with, like Jenkins. We do have our own tool that we offer called Pipelines. It's built in and integrated natively into the platform. And then importantly, X-Ray. X-Ray is there to scan, make sure everything is safe, secure, and free from any malicious packages, high CVSS scores, or anything else like a new package that's less than 2 days old doesn't get introduced to your edge devices or your IoT devices. This connects in with Artifactory through your whole software supply chain. So shifting all the way over to the left, we have curation. We have the part where the developer is creating that software. They're working in their IDEs. They're building their code. The X-Ray plugin for VS Code or Visual Studio, IntelliJ, whatever you're working with, will scan and make sure anything that has a vulnerability doesn't get into your production. So the developer is going to be able to see that right in their IDE, stop that vulnerability or that vulnerable package from getting into your IoT device. We also have curation, which can block and make sure nothing gets into your supply chain. So as you start to create, you start to build and push your repository and push your build into your car, your Raspberry Pi, your phone, your watch, even your Robocop. You can make sure that it is safe and free from any vulnerabilities, and you're getting exactly what you created. So with our release bundles, you can make sure that you are pushing that signed immutable safe bundle to your device. Connect can distribute out to any of the devices out there. So you could have a fleet of IoT devices. They could be a radio tower where you have something at the ultimate edge, at a cellular tower. It could be in a traditional data center. It could be any device. Connect ties in with Artifactory and helps you distribute and make sure that everything is efficiently, low latency distributed. So now let's get into the platform. Let's see what this is all about. Let's get into our demo. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to log into our platform. So this is going to tie into our existing JFrog instance. So I'm just going to log in using my email address. And then I'm going to log into my Connect platform. It's going to connect back in with my Artifactory instance. And as we're logging into our instance, we're going to be able to see our dashboard. So this is where we're going to see all our devices. But if we look at our overview first, this is where we're going to be able to see our whole fleet. So Connect is going to bring in that product fleet functionality. We're going to be able to see our different projects, and we can also group things. So if you have thousands of devices out there, this is where the projects and the groups are going to help you understand exactly what's going on where. So right now we're looking at our demo test environment, and this is showing everything in all our groups. But we could segment this out into production. We could have a test group where we're just running just test environments, or we could have it by region. We could have our whole EMEA fleet or North American fleet. We can filter it down exactly to a tag, a specific device, even the application or the deployment. And we're going to go over what deployments and looks like as well. But here's our fleet. So right now, we only have 3 online and we have 1 offline, a total fleet of 4. Pretty small, but this can handle thousands and thousands of devices all over the world. We can see any of the alerts that might happen. So maybe we have a resource issue or a process issue. Any notifications that happen will show up in here. We can also see what application versions we've distributed. So if we're pushing out different versions to different devices, we can see what's using the device, and then the device registration. So we're going to see I registered a device yesterday. That's where we're seeing that little blip there. Where is that device? Well, it just happens to be where I am, in Dallas. So here's my RoboCop device. So staying on theme, I deployed a RoboCop. We're not going to be able to show the RoboCop, but we're gonna get in and see what the RoboCop is doing. So it's in Dallas. We have a good map of exactly where all our devices are around the world. We want to drill down and see more of our devices. This is where we can see our whole fleet. So we have a Raspberry Pi out there, we have Homebridge, we have our RoboCop, another test device. If we click into our RoboCop, we can see everything that's going on here, its location, all the technical details on it, the CPU, the RAM, the disk usage. So if this does spike or the RAM increases, and I can demonstrate that right now. So right now I'm running a little bit of load on there. We're going to spike the CPUs, we're going to spike the RAM, and we're going to see what happens. You can also see any applications that we might have deployed. We're going to deploy an application to it pretty soon here. Any alerts that are going on, we should see an alert soon here as we spike the CPU and RAM. We can also monitor anything like a temperature sensor, or maybe we have an alarm system attached to this. We can set up a data monitor and take actions against that. You can also run control commands on here. So I can run any command. I can run init6 if I want to restart the device, or anything I've set up ahead of time. So somebody has already set up get networking, or maybe restart networking, reboot the system. And how this works is the device is running an agent on it. So every number of seconds, however many you've set up, I believe this one is on 15 or 30 seconds, it's going to call back to the system. And it's going to give it the information of what's going on, but it's also going to check, is there anything I need to do? Do I need to run a command? Do I need to initiate an SSH session, for example? And it's also giving me feedback on all that data, sensor, all the alerts, everything we're just looking at. So we can see some of the things that are being monitored, like Docker D. It's constantly monitoring to see if Docker D is set up. Or we could have it make sure that SSH is running. If we click into the alerts, this is where we're going to be able to see if the CPU spikes. So we can see we have a CPU spike that happened earlier. The CPU hit 99%. So what did this do? There is a configuration already set up for this to send off an email. So we can set up an email. We can set up anything with a webhook as well. So I'm sure Bill noticed as I was testing this yesterday, I got a bunch of emails that my Robocop was exceeding CPU. So there's the email that was triggered and it happened. Now we can also see any of the update flows. So if we want to push an update to this device, we can deploy it. So if I want to deploy a Docker image, for example, I would set up an update flow. And you can see here's the update flows that we have currently set up. But if we want to create one, we have a great builder that makes it very easy to deploy a container. You can deploy an individual file, or you can run a script or a command. You can also pull your latest version from Git, or directly from Artifactory, I can pull an artifact. Maybe I have built a jar I want to deploy, or one of those release bundles that we talked about for distribution, a signed, immutable, safe, and secure bundle that you can deploy directly to your devices. So in this case, we're going to create a new flow. We're going to deploy Nginx demo hello Docker container to this device. So what we do is we drag in our deploy container. We're going to set this up. So we're going to pull this from our Sol-eng, and we're going to pull that directly. So we are going to deploy a single container. We're going to deploy from our repository here. So we're going to pull from our Sol-eng. I might have to relog in here. So we're going to pull from our Sol-eng environment. And we're also going to pull from Erica Docker remote. So we're going to come back in here. Our image URL is our Sol-eng. Our repository is my first and name and last initial, remote, and we're going to pull in Nginx demos /hello. We're going to pull the latest. And now we're going to go ahead and save that. But before we do that, you can also set a rollback. So if this does fail, you can take an action. But we're going to leave this at the default right now. We're going to go ahead and create our flow. We're going to ignore the rollback. So now we've created our flow. So we're going to deploy that container to our device. So let's create a new deployment. We'll go ahead and deploy it. Before we do that, we should probably select our Robocop. So we're going to choose our filter. We're going to do that by our specific device. And we could do it by a tag, or we could do it by the deployment. But we're going to do that right by the device. So we're going to deploy that to our Robocop. And now we are going to apply it. There's only one device affected. It's Robocop. We confirm that's correct. So we go ahead and create it. We're going to go ahead and run that deployment. So now it is deploying that to my Robocop. And we can go ahead and see our deployment here. So we can see that it was pending. It's now in progress, and it has successfully deployed that Docker container Nginx demos hello to that Docker container. So that's how easy it is to set up a deployment, create those update flows. Now, if something does happen, you do have those rollbacks. You can also always see whatever's happening in the log. So we have a feature in here where you can pull logs directly from a device. So if we want to check our RoboCop logs, see what our RoboCop is doing as he's going around the city fighting crime, we can pull his logs and see exactly what's going on. We can go ahead and just fetch those. So you can see that there's a whole bunch going on here already. Now, how can we actually control and fix any of these issues that might come up? Let's say we have some sort of deployment that really failed, or maybe one of our systems is spiking CPU. We need to get into the system and see what's going on. That's where our control center can help us. We can set up remote control. So we can open up a session, we can run our remote commands. So maybe I don't need to log into it. I just need to run a restart, right? Run a reboot, run an init6. But we can get into one of our devices. So let's get into our SSH connection. And what this is going to do is it's going to reverse back in it. So every time that device communication cycle is activated, you can see it's waiting for the device communication, transfers the keys, and then it's going to open up our session. It's going to give us that ability to connect. So now we can connect, we can open our remote session, and we're going to SSH into the device and we can see what's going on. So maybe there's some sort of issue with CPU. We can go ahead and run top on here, and we can see, oh, we have all 4 cores are pegged right now. We're running 100%. We're using a lot of memory. There's a lot of agents going on here. What's going on? Well, somebody is running a stress test. So that's me. So I can go ahead and kill that on the device and fix that issue. Our CPUs have calmed down, and now we can go on and we can say that this problem has been solved. There's also remote access. So if you do need to set up a port in here to connect in, those remote commands, you can set up those commands. We looked at this briefly, but I can set up commands. You can see some of the commands that I ran on my RoboCop device, like getting the network configuration, rebooting it, or just give me a directory listening a root. You can set up the commands ahead of time so that you can just hit the run button. And so if I want to restart an application, for example. Now you can also monitor some of the pieces in here. So we have our monitor for CPU. We can see there's a little spike here. That's where we're doing our stress test. A little bit of RAM spike here. You can also see what's going on with your disk space. You can monitor any processes as well. So right now we have one in here for Docker. So we are monitoring the Docker process on all our groups, but we can segment that out to that production group, for example. We can also see the data on here. So if we have some sort of temperature sensor or an alarm system, something else connected to our device, we can create parameters, can set up some alert logic, and then we can see all our triggered alerts in here. Right now there's none, but this is where you can set them up. There's also security built into this. So there's firewall rules. Now, it's going to control the firewall on that device. So you can control all your devices out in the wild very easily. You're not going to have to get in with SSH in every device and change those IP tables. You can do that very easily right here. Now, something else I didn't mention before when we looked at our Artifactory instance is this is the container we pulled. So we pulled this directly from Artifactory. This is sitting in our remote Artifactory Artifactory repository, and it was scanned automatically with X-ray, and it was scanned for contextual analysis. So you can see that this found 7 medium and 1 unknown vulnerability in here. So we know there's nothing really serious going on in here. We pulled this directly to our devices and it was already scanned. Now we could have set up a rule in Artifactory to block the device. So we could block the download if we hit something critical or if we hit something that was deemed to be applicable. meaning that our system was able to exploit something within this Docker container. We could block the download. It could also scan for any vulnerabilities like a secret or a token, certificate, something you might have left in there, or maybe some sort of misconfiguration with Nginx, for example, running on that Docker container. Maybe you have Node or Python. We can identify any of those issues and block the download. Stop that from going to one of your devices if something is identified. Also with a malicious package. So great news here, no malicious packages. So this was pretty clean. And anything that was found, a policy violation would have been generated, send an email message, a Slack message, create a Jira ticket automatically beyond the functionality of Connect. Connect also has documentation to help you facilitate this. There's an API that you can use to automate your deployments. And like I mentioned before, 4 megs of disk space, about 11 megs of RAM, always on, 0 dependencies, very lightweight. You can also build this in at scale. If you have thousands of devices, you can register your devices with in a Yocto image, for example. So you can build this in, they will register when they start. You can also register manually using the register device up here. So if we wanted to set up that device like we have with our Robocop, we want to add another device in, all we'd have to do is run this command. It's going to pull down the Connect agent, and then it's going to use our token, and it's going to apply it to whatever group, give it a name. So in my case, I gave it a device name of Robocop. I attached it to a group, and I can also set that software version if I'd like. So it's just that easy to get something set up. We can have something connect into our platform in just a couple of minutes. And with that, I think we are pretty close to time. Is there any other questions that we would like to address? I'm not sure who's in control of the questions here.
Yeah, I'm looking. I've been answering all the questions. We got a whole bunch. Been answering those on the side. So I guess, if there's no other questions from everybody over here, oh wait, we got some questions coming in. One of them is about how does Artifactory store artifacts? And I guess, if we could show quickly, Eric, maybe like one of the update flows, like you said, we'll show how, show it here and then show how it stores, or show first Artifactory, show how it shows the builds maybe, and then give it a little go on the other side. A little education on that would be awesome.
For sure. So everything that we're pulling in can either be from a local repository, so something we've built, or it could be a remote repository. That's what we did earlier. We pulled that Nginx demos directly from Docker through our Artifactory instance. So Artifactory was our proxy there. That's what allows that Nginx demos hello to always be available. It's always going to live in our remote repository, and it's always going to be scanned and secure. So you're not going to have to worry if Docker Hub goes down, for example. It's in your remote repository. Now, if you wanted to, so another question came up, can you store Docker images in Artifactory? Absolutely. So you can create a repository either local or remote. So anything I'm building would go in one of these 32 plus different package types. So Docker is right here. I can push whatever I want into Docker. I can also have an NPM or a Maven repository, even Terraform, and anything that doesn't fit in here would be in a generic repository. Anything I'm pulling in from an external source, like Docker Hub, for example, or NPM, that's a remote repository. So we pull that in from Docker by default, but this can be any private registry you want. Artifactory will proxy that through. You can enable indexing for X-Ray. So X-Ray will constantly scan it for any security vulnerabilities and make sure that you don't deploy anything to any of your IoT devices or any other distribution out there with a vulnerability in it. That all ties into Connect. So when we were looking at our update rules, our update flows, for example, this is where we can deploy that container directly from Artifactory. So we could pull that in from our Artifactory instance. This is our Docker registry. And you can also pull in your artifacts directly from Artifactory. So maybe I want to pull my container, but I also want to deploy a jar from my Artifactory. So I can pull that from the Artifactory path directly onto that device or devices. That also extends into the release bundle. So if we want a release bundle, we can pull that from our distribution system and deploy that immutable secured bundle into our IoT devices.
Thanks, John, Eric.
Great. Any other questions? I think they've all been answered.
Oh, I think somebody said, yeah, there was like, how do I push an existing Docker image into Artifactory? Oh, so
That's a
actually, in
great,
this case, that's an awesome one, actually.
great question. So if you want to push an existing Docker image that you have on your local machine, this is where Artifactory really makes it very easy for your developers to use Artifactory as that proxy. So any of those repositories that we just looked at, locals or remotes, or even a virtual. So if you just want to have one virtual repository to push and pull a number of locals or remotes, but in the case of just deploying to a local Docker repository where the thing that you're building, easy, set me up instructions right here. So maybe we want to deploy to our blah blah repository. Not sure who created that one. You can generate a token. It's going to give you all the instructions, how you can log in, set this up on your Docker client, how to push it. Here's how you would tag it, and then how you would push it directly to Artifactory to that blah blah repository. And then also how to pull it. So you're going to have to pull it. Docker doesn't allow you to set this up within any configuration, so you do have to specify this explicitly. Can I integrate Artifactory with Azure DevOps pipeline? Absolutely. So using the JFrog CLI, you can use that.
Actually, I have an example if you want me to share my screen for a sec, so I can just give it I actually have I was actually using it earlier. So let me share my screen for a sec so I can just show them, if you don't mind. Let me do that. Here you go. So yeah, absolutely. What's nice about the Azure DevOps integration is all you have to do is go search for JFrog. All you have to do is enable it. We'll show you how to connect it to Artifactory. And once you've done that, you can actually just go in and we have all the Artifactory connection components here. Everything from Docker images to build promotion to specific things like Maven and Gradle and Go. So yes, we have actually a very robust Docker integration. I mean, Docker, Jesus, Azure DevOps integration for you. So you can just go ahead and do that. But like I said, just go to Azure, go to the store, look up JFrog Artifactory, enable the plugin. There'll be a prompt to connect it to your instance, and then once you do, you're ready to rock and roll.
Thanks, Bill.
I'll actually put the link into the Q&A so that people can see. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry, just wanted to be able to show it to the people.
No, thank you so much. It would have taken me a few minutes to get that loaded up. Appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir. There we go. I'll put it into the questions and answers, a link directly to it. Any other questions out there today for Eric? He's an amazing resource. So to get a audience like this with him is pretty awesome. Anyone?
Right.
Bueller, Voodoo Economics. All right. Well, Eric, thank you so much today. You, as always, really just bring it. You're an amazing person, amazing resource. We're so happy and lucky to have you. And the thing is that, if you guys are looking to do proper IoT management of your devices at scale, you already know, if you're not familiar with JFrog, please go in and research us some more. There's a reason why over 7,000 global corporations use the JFrog software supply chain platform. And one of the endpoints here, of course, is JFrog Connect. And the thing is that in terms of what it does, the simplicity of the integration, but the thing is, it's super powerful, robust, to help you manage your devices. And the thing is that, you know, in today's age, as devices grow and management grow, being able to, take control of that and do customers are expecting updates, right? It's no longer a nicety. It's something they're always expecting. So be aware, and we have all the tools you need. Eric, anything you want to say on the way out?
Thank you, everyone, so much for your cooperation. I really appreciate everyone joining. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help. Connect is my absolute favorite software product that JFrog has, and I would love to help you become successful using the platform. So feel free to reach out. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate everybody being here today. And be safe, be wonderful, be well. Let us know if you have any more information. Go to jfrog.com. You can also go to, if you want to learn more, also you can go to academy.jfrog.com. If you want to learn hands-on, in-depth, we have a free course around that. Sign up for a free trial at jfrog.com. Go to the academy, take it. You can learn everything you ever need to know. Put it on your LinkedIn, and you'll be all cool. Trust me, there's a lot of companies out there that do use that. It'll help you draw up your resources. In addition, you go to connect.jfrog.com. You can also sign up for a free trial for Connect there also. In addition, go to our sites, like on X and LinkedIn and all that, and take a look, keep up to date on events, and we look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you so much for coming. Peace and be well.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.